The smell of vanilla and sugar filled the air as people moved in and out of the bakery, their laughter rising above the soft clatter of cups and plates. Parents carried balloons, children pressed their faces to the glass to marvel at rainbow-colored pastries, and couples shared warm drinks, their fingers brushing together as they pointed out desserts. For most, it was just a sweet Saturday morning. But for Daniel, it was one of the hardest moments he had ever faced. His jacket was old and frayed at the cuffs, and his work boots left faint marks of grease no matter how hard he scrubbed them before entering. His eyes were tired from late-night shifts at the garage, his hands rough from years of repairing cars for other people. And beside him, clutching his hand tightly, stood his daughter Emma, 8 years old, her brown curls bouncing, her stuffed bunny tucked under her arm. She was smiling, wide-eyed, staring at the cake display as if she had stepped into a magical world. "Daddy, look," she whispered excitedly, "that one has strawberries, just like I wanted." Daniel's lips curved into a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Yes, sweetheart, just like you wanted." It had taken him weeks of overtime, fixing engines in freezing weather, staying late long after the garage lights dimmed, just to scrape together enough for this cake. It wasn't extravagant, but it meant everything to Emma. It was her birthday wish. They reached the counter. The cashier, a young woman with a polite but hurried tone, tapped on the register. "That'll be $38.50. Daniel slid the crumpled bills across the counter, his hands shaking slightly. He'd counted them 10 times already at home. But when the cashier frowned and said, "I'm sorry, sir. You're short," his stomach dropped. He blinked. "Short? That can't be right. I have 35. "Yes, but with tax it's $38.50, the cashier repeated, her voice low, aware of the impatient line forming behind them. Daniel's throat tightened. He pulled out his wallet again, checking the corners, the change pouch, anything. A few coins clinked softly, but it wasn't enough. He felt the weight of people's eyes on his back. Someone sighed loudly. Another muttered, "Some of us have places to be." Emma looked up at him, confused. Her small voice was full of hope. "Daddy, are we getting my cake?" Daniel's heart broke. He wanted to say yes, wanted to find the money, wanted to protect that sparkle in her eyes. But reality pressed heavy against him. His face burned with shame as he whispered, "I'm sorry. Cancel the order." The cashier hesitated, her hand hovering over the register. "Are you sure?" Daniel nodded, voice cracking. "Yes." Emma's smile faded. She hugged her bunny tightly, trying not to cry, though she didn't fully understand why the cake she had dreamed of was suddenly gone. And that's when a voice cut through the room. "I'll pay for it." The bakery fell silent. Daniel turned, startled, as a woman in a sharp navy blue suit stepped forward. She was elegant, with hair pulled back neatly, heels clicking with authority. In her hand was a platinum card. The cashier blinked. "Ma'am, I said I'll pay for the cake," the woman repeated. She glanced at Emma and then at Daniel. "And add 2 boxes of cookies, please." Daniel shook his head immediately, panic rushing through him. No, you don't have to." But the woman raised her hand firmly, silencing him. Her voice was calm but carried a weight that made everyone listen. "I know I don't have to. But I want to." She turned to Emma, her stern expression softening into a smile. "Sweetheart, every princess deserves a cake on her birthday. Don't you think?" Emma's eyes widened, her face lighting up. She nodded eagerly. "Yes." Tears stung Daniel's eyes. I can't thank you enough." The woman handed the cashier her card, then crouched slightly so she was eye level with Emma. "You make a big wish when you blow out your candles, okay? And never forget how much your daddy loves you. That's the biggest gift you'll ever have." Emma beamed. She didn't even notice the murmurs around them, the whispers of surprise, the softened looks on strangers' faces. For that moment, she felt like the most special little girl in the world. Daniel, though, felt torn. Grateful, yes, but also ashamed that he hadn't been able to provide something so simple. He carried the cake carefully out of the bakery, Emma skipping beside him, already chattering about her wish. The woman watched them leave. She returned to her table and her untouched coffee, but she couldn't focus on her contracts anymore. Her name was Victoria Hayes, CEO of Hayes Industries, one of the city's largest corporations. She was used to boardrooms, numbers, and power plays, not bakeries and birthday cakes. But the sight of that little girl holding her bunny, the desperation in her father's eyes, it had shaken something deep inside her. For the rest of the day, she couldn't forget it. That evening, Daniel and Emma sat in their small apartment. The wallpaper was peeling, the lights flickered now and then, and the heating struggled against the cold. But in the center of their worn wooden table sat the cake. Emma clapped her hands in delight as Daniel lit the candles. "Make a wish, sweetheart," he whispered. Emma squeezed her eyes shut. And though she didn't say it out loud, her wish was simple: "I wish Daddy wouldn't be so sad." She blew out the candles, giggling when the smoke curled upward. For her, it was the perfect birthday. For Daniel, it was bittersweet. He smiled for her, but inside, he vowed to work harder, to do better, to never let her down again. What he didn't know was that Victoria had already set something in motion. The next week, Daniel received a call from a logistics company he had never applied to. They needed a head mechanic for their delivery fleet. The pay was generous, the hours reasonable, and the benefits included health insurance, something Daniel hadn't been able to afford before. Confused but grateful, Daniel accepted. It wasn't until months later that he discovered Victoria was behind it all. She had quietly pulled strings, giving him not just a cake but a second chance at stability. And she didn't stop there. Inspired by that single moment in the bakery, Victoria launched a foundation through her company to support single parents struggling to provide for their kids. Scholarships, food programs, emergency aid. What started as one cake became hundreds, then thousands of acts of kindness spreading through the city. As for Emma, she grew up remembering that birthday not as the day her dad couldn't afford her cake, but as the day kindness came to their door. She told the story often, about her dad's sacrifice, the stranger's compassion, and the candles she blew out with a wish in her heart. And Daniel, he never forgot the lesson either. He realized that sometimes life doesn't measure us by how much we can give, but by how much love we carry when we have nothing left. Because sometimes, the smallest kindness can change the course of someone's life. And sometimes, one cake can mean so much more than sugar and frosting. It can mean hope.